And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change, I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name, I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame, no I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be.
In this video, we're going to dive down into the technical data for Bitcoin, find out what is going on with BTC and what might actually happen next. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with all of the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all of this said, done, and out of the way, let's jump on down into the desktop and take a look at what is going on here with Bitcoin. Okay guys, we're going to start things off with our hourly chart. Really just going to talk about, what's been going on with that push up and the potential that we had for invalidation, and then obviously that pullback that we're currently experiencing right now. Okay, so let's get into it. So basically we had this impulsive move just here, right? So we basically had 5 waves up, starting pretty much from the 31st of January down here. This is in line with what was going on with the stock market at the time. There was a bit of a push there, but we cannot move up continuously without having some kind of repercussions to it, right? The main thing that we were looking for here was that first invalidation point. This invalidation point effectively was $39,650. This is an area that unfortunately we did not actually take out, and as a result of not pushing past that area, we have now started to see a decline with Bitcoin. Now this is actually a really interesting point because we were tracking for 5 waves up, we were looking for an ABC sideways trade and then another 5 up. Now that hasn't happened. Instead, what we've seen here is an ABC coming from this point here up here, right, like so. So we have our ABC. Now I don't know what's going on with this particular area here. I'd have to check out what's going on with the smaller time frames, specifically to talk about these 2 hourly candles, right? So if I actually just jump down into our 15-minute here for a second, yeah, we had that that pullback after reaching those highs, but it's a really small kind of move here. I'm just trying to find it on the chart. Let me see. So we reached the high points, but yeah, it's really not overly clear. So let me just bring that back up. So there's a little bit of something just in here. 1st of February, about 9 o'clock. We come back into here, just see if we can find that. 9 o'clock on the 1st. That's going to be around about here. So yeah, you can see this particular set of candles right here. It's not quite definitive. It kind of comes all the way down and then we push on up. So this should be an ABC, but we haven't actually pulled down lower than this point, right? So that's an interesting kind of takeaway. So effectively, we actually had this push up and, we didn't actually carry anything down. So it's a clear ABC up, but not very clear here in this move. Now, when we actually jump back up into our hourly chart, so we can obviously acknowledge that there's an ABC just in here. So we know that this is an up move. Okay, so we have that, but we don't really know why that move there went on. Yeah, it is what it is. But obviously here we can see that we were tracking down. There's an ABC up. And what I think is actually going on here is really important. So what we have effectively here is an A, a B, and a C. And then we have this really small A, B, C move, right? Now what you have is this pullback from a mid-range stochastic RSI point down to oversold and then all the way up high without doing any price movement whatsoever, really. And this has now led us to a pullback. Now what we actually see, if we actually clean this up a bit and we just remove some of the noise, is effectively a much larger ABC, right? We have our A wave down, we have the B wave up, and then we have a C wave down, right? It's only when you start measuring this, you actually notice what else is going on, right? So we actually pulled this up to here, we pull this across. We can see that we actually went impulsive, but if I pull that down to here, because we came down to an exact 1.618 move, okay? So we know that this is actually a completion of a 3rd wave, so I can remove that, and I can now go ahead and say we're impulsive down. Actually, if I put that in the right spot there, we'll put that somewhere in a second. So wave 2 being over here, wave 3 being over wave 1 there, right? So we have wave 1, wave 2 high, wave 3 coming down, and now we're looking for a bounce up in line with our stochastic RSI. And this will probably take us up to some pretty interesting areas. I'm going to do that math in a moment. And then we'll look for that completing move with the fifth wave. Now, it doesn't show us moving down to 31,000 straight away, although that is still valid because we haven't gone past our invalidation point. So it's very important that we're aware that, $31,000 is still on the horizon here for Bitcoin. It hasn't been invalidated. The invalidation just wasn't taken out at 39,650. But what we are talking about is now a potential move down into some low areas where we expect some kind of reversal. Now, if that reversal is very similar to what we saw over here, as in a really small kind of wipes out the stochastic RSI and allows us to continue going down, then we'll obviously talk about more about $31,000. But for now, we have an impulsive move down. What I'm going to do, and let's also note this is on the 1.618, right? And if we actually take hold of this entire move here to the upside, we can also acknowledge that we're actually really trading down here on top of the 786, right? So we've had a retracement of this impulsive move up. Retracements currently come down to the 786. Okay, so everything's resonating incredibly well with the Fibonacci retracement tools. Now, what we want to do is we want to first of all figure out this move here where we're going to bounce up to. Okay, so obviously this is going to be running the probability. It's no guarantee that we'll come up to this point, but I think it's important that we kind of acknowledge a couple of things here. One is I think that we got the 618 just here. Okay, this 618 comes in at $38,124. Okay, so that's my area where I think is the most probable area that we're going to push up to, 38,124. Now, if we actually push up past 38,195, let's say, just to be safe, then actually it's not impulsive down, it's just an ABC correction. Okay, and again, this then means we're still potentially going to have 5 waves up. Okay, so as I come into here, we can just take a look at that. So we have our low point of wave 1, that is $38,195 approximately. I can actually give you the exact number, 38,196. Okay, so if we go higher than that, we're doing really well. It invalidates the move. Now, if we only go up to the 618, then we're not invalidating that this impulsive move down, then we expect to pull back, right? So pretty standard stuff, and this is just Elliott wave kind of principles, right? So this fourth wave then, if we take it from our low point up to our fourth wave high, let's hypothetically say it's all valid, where does this fifth wave land? Well, it lands us at about $36,376 approximately, okay, based on going up to the 618 and then pulling down to a 1.618, which is the minimum kind of requirement for a fifth wave there. Okay, so here we have our ABC kind of plotted out. We kind of have an idea now of what is more than likely going to happen next unless something is invalidated. Okay, so if everything doesn't, if everything goes ahead and nothing gets invalidated, that's the low point that we're looking at, right? We're looking at those $36,300 range, right? If, however, we invalidate the impulsive move down, which can be done by going higher than $38,196. Effectively, what that will mean is that this is just an ABC correction, right? So if I grab this, it's basically just A, B, C, and then from here, what we want is an ABC that goes impulsive up, okay? And this means we have 5, 3, 5. Very important in terms of Elliott wave and what we're trying to do for recovery. Obviously, that move, in theory, that impulsive move next, if it were to happen, would actually invalidate the $31,000 range, or at least one of our $31,000 ranges. Now, what I mean by that is there's a second invalidation just up here. This comes in at $42,000.30 to be exact, right? We need to go higher than that to completely, in my opinion, remove the possibility of a $31,000 Bitcoin. So we aren't there yet, but obviously can see two different outcomes here. One that would require an invalidation of this impulsive move down. And if it does, then I think there's a good probability that we actually invalidate one of our C waves down to $31,000. If that doesn't happen and we see an impulsive move down, then of course, that's not on the horizon here, and something else is. Now, what I will do is I'll remove the hopium there, if you will. And we'll leave the pessimistic look of this coming down here. Now, the other thing that's really apparent here on our hourly chart is a head and shoulders pattern, okay? And again, if I find where this one is, that's somewhere in the tools here. I can never actually use it that often there we go, to find it. But effectively, what we have is a left shoulder just down here. We then have our head coming up here, come back down, possibly, possibly coming back down into this area here. Let me see if I can line that up somewhere around here, and that might be a fifth wave low, and then we push up again, find that resistance, come back down, break that. Now let me just line this up a little bit better so that we get that aligned. Okay, so this is something else that could also play out. No guarantee of it, of course, just something that I've seen here on the charts whilst drawing up my wave counts. And that fifth wave down, if we are impulsive down, would potentially get us right back down into the neckline, allowing us to then start to go up for a formation of a right shoulder. Okay, and if we start to see that formation of a right shoulder and we come back down, obviously, like we often say on the channel, we don't trade these, but these are indicators for us. So as we potentially move up, we come back down maybe, and we break this. We want to see and wait for the test. If we get rejected from there, we go down. If, however, we push up and we turn it into support, then we go up. Okay, and we don't trade these, but these are good indications of what is going on with the market. So it's always good to be aware that there's potential head and shoulder patterns, etc., forming on the chart, and it's always good to know that they align with Elliott wave counts that we're doing as well. So overall, on our hourly chart, there's nothing about this move to the downside that's unexpected. We've been talking about it for a while. We've been obviously talking about $31,000 quite a bit, etc. So this move down here is very much standard. Obviously, then looking back up and so forth. Now, obviously, we would like this to just be an ABC because that gives us invalidation and allows us to see that continuation to the upside. Okay, so basically complete reversal at that point once we take out these two invalidation points, one at 39,650 and $42,000. Take those out and a lot more confidence is going to come into the market. With that being said, though, if, of course, we actually do continue to go down, $31,000 completes a lot of technical indicators and wave counts on our charts that actually then show us with a pretty big impulsive move up on the larger timeframes anyway. And we've been down as low as $32,000, so incredibly close to the targets. So a little bit more down there, and I think we are done at that point, and we should be looking at good progression to the upside. So with all that said, that's kind of what's going on here and now on the hourly chart. I do want to kind of bring up our favorite report, which of course is the Glassnode data. Now, the Glassnode data that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be all about exchanges, Bitcoin volumes, and all that kind of stuff. What's staying on exchanges, what's leaving exchanges, etc. So here we actually have the personal favorite. This is the net position change, BTC, all exchanges. So basically, with all of the inflows and all of the outflows, what's the net change difference with Bitcoin on exchanges? And you can see, obviously, we're still in the red. More Bitcoin is leaving exchanges than is going on. Okay, so that's pretty encouraging. Again, not what you'd expect in a bear market. And I know if I just roll this back up again into previous kind of bear markets, you can obviously see that there's a lot more inflows. Okay, now obviously this is the volume of Bitcoin and number of coins. Okay, that hasn't really changed over the years. The number of coins of Bitcoin, right? There's 21 million that will ever be created. Not all of that is actually out in circulation yet, but basically this report is looking at all of the Bitcoin that's in circulation, whether it's going on exchanges or coming off of exchanges, right? I don't really tend to look at, wallet addresses all too often and all that kind of stuff, but it's good to kind of know what's going on from an exchange point of view. Normally during a bear market you see an inflow of coins onto exchanges. In this case we're taking a look at Bitcoin, and we'd expect to see a lot of inflows for Bitcoin, right, during a bear market, people trying to liquidate and sell before the potential bottom comes in, and then they would accumulate again, right? Instead, what we have in a bull run is basically just accumulation continuing, lots of retail investors FOMOing in, picking up Bitcoin nice and cheap, etc. This here is the dump in May, right? So what actually happens when people fear a bear market's coming, basically a load of Bitcoin enters the exchange, and of course it all got bought up again down the bottom here. A little bit of inflows, nothing too major, and now we're on major outflows again, right? So ultimately, yeah, we're seeing some good hodling occurring as well. Another report I do look at, I'm not going to bring it up today, but are there any major changes with the hodl waves, etc.? But actually what we're really seeing here is accumulation occurring. As the price pulls back, more and more Bitcoin is leaving the exchanges. It's not going on exchanges to be sold. Now obviously there's the argument of wouldn't people store Bitcoin in cold storage during these kind of crypto winters? Absolutely. But normally what you find is retail investors specifically, they panic sell, right? And that's not what we're witnessing. So we either have a couple of things. Hardly any retail investors left, and if there are any retail investors left, they're actually holding stronger than maybe they have done historically, right? Otherwise, it's pretty much most of the Bitcoin is pretty much held by institutional players or whales that are just accumulating. Obviously, we're not looking at leverage plays or anything like that, because, you know, that's just high risk anyway. And if you're going to be using leverage, you might as well be handing your money over to the whales, in my opinion. So ultimately, yeah, it's really good to know that from a hodling perspective, if things are looking good, and obviously more Bitcoin is leaving the exchanges. It basically brings down the balance of Bitcoin on exchanges continuously dropping, okay, as we had seen. So, and during crypto winter, the balance on exchanges goes up. During bull runs, the balance on exchanges goes down. Okay, so again, we'll be looking at how this kind of reverses and all that kind of stuff and stabilizes over time, but it's good and encouraging data. Now the other thing I want to kind of just do is jump up into our daily quickly here. I know this video is coming on a little bit, so bear with me, but basically we have our ABC coming down here. So from 69k, big A wave down, bounce up here. I think it was $52,000. I was expecting 58, but we didn't quite get there. But then we pull back down. This pullback, this C wave down, lands at $31,000. To invalidate that, we have to see $42,000. Okay, that's one of the major points of invalidation that we're really looking for. We need to see that one come in to bring confidence back into the market in that push to the upside. Obviously, when we come up into our weekly view, we actually have a zigzag pattern going sideways here. For invalidation on that zigzag pattern, i.e. to get confidence back into the market, we have to set a new all-time high. And coming back down again, this actually looks like it's completing in the zigzag pattern. So again, $31,000 is indicated here with a like-to-like ratio of our A wave to our C wave. So again, there's actually three indicators indicating $31,000. None of them have been invalidated, and $31,000 is the most common ground across all the various different timelines that I can see. So until something is invalidated, $31,000 BTC is still in play. And yeah, it's really very much just waiting to see how that kind of comes in. Once those low levels come in, some fantastic accumulation and some fantastic deals on altcoins should be had. As anyone's in our Discord and Patreon will know, I've got quite a few interesting kind of things I'm looking to acquire down there as well. Lots of technical analysis on various different altcoins. So if you haven't already joined us in Discord, check it out. If you're looking for a bit more from Patreon, we do offer buy-sell signals on what we are doing personally, as well as staking, etc., but also a whole host of additional TA and AMAs, etc. So check that out if that's your kind of thing that you want to kind of get into. Right, with all of that said, done, and out of the way, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with all of the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.